Hello beautiful people, you're welcome back to my channel. I'm Tosin and this is So with Tosin. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about how I made this monochrome fitted dress with this shirt collar and this kind of sleeve. Well, this video is going to be like freehand cutting, is not pattern drafting or whatever. I made this dress with freehand. So I'm just going to carry you guys along the process of cutting and stitching this dress together. As you can see, it's a fitted dress with straight peplum, invisible zip neatly fixed, and it has a shirt collar and a puffy sleeve. So if this is what you are interested in, kindly stay along with me from the beginning of this video to the end of this video. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So yeah, my fabric, I used 2 yards of plain crepe, and then I used not up to half yard of this monochrome crepe, and I used pattern paper to cut the sleeve initially before transferring it to my main fabric. I used a pair of scissors, obviously my taper, and then chalk and the measurement I worked with. So firstly, I started cutting the body of the dress, and this person's hip is 46. I measured 46, then I added 14 inches allowance. 14 inches is for the sewing allowance, the slit, the lapping at the back of the slit, the zip allowance, everything is in this 14 inches. So after measuring the 46, which happens to be her hips, and the 14 inches allowance for all the allowance, I put a notch at that point. Then I went ahead to cut it out, folded my fabric into two, leaving the zip allowance at the back. I measured the shoulder, the armhole. I brought out the neckline, as you can see, and then I went ahead to cut the half cut. I forgot to mention, this dress only has half cuts at the front, and the back is a straight pencil dress, no half cut. So after cutting out the half cut, I have to like put a joining on the waistline so that the peplum can see where to enter neatly. So after I cut out the half cuts, I went ahead to mark where I want the monochrome to be, like where the monochrome is going to be. I marked it out like I did in this video. I went ahead to cut it out, then I placed it on the monochrome fabric, not forgetting that it has button at the front. So I left button allowance. I left 2 inches. This my fabric is on fold of 2. I left 2 inches at the front. That means 2 to the right and 2 to the left. Then I went ahead to cut it out. I cut open the part where I'm going to fold. Then I put a notch at that part up and down. This notch helps me to know the quantity of fabric I'll fold inside when I get to my sewing machine, like the parts that will lap on each other. That's where the button is going to stay. So basically that's it. It's nothing serious. Then I added allowance to the length. The allowance I'll use to join it to the black part of the half cut. So I just added the allowance and I put a mark like that so that I can be able to tell the wrong side of the dress with ease. After then, I went ahead to cut the straight peplum. Nothing serious. I just placed my fabric on the lower part of the front panel from the waistline downward. I placed my fabric on it just to mark out how I want the straight peplum to be. I marked it out, I cut it out, then I placed it on the part where I want it to be. That's from the waistline downward for the front panel of the dress, just as it is now in this video. At this point, I already cut it out. I'm just putting it on top so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is my already cut out collar, the 2 layers. It's a 2-layer collar, the long side and the short side, and I already turned it. I gave it a very good press and I pressed it properly. Here is the collar, and I just went ahead to fold the edge of the collar inward. Then I used iron to like secure it down so that when I get to my sewing machine, I won't have to go through the stress of folding it again. I already folded it to the right and to the left with my pressing iron just to create a channel for the neck to enter, and then I just stitch it down like that. After that, I took it to the sewing machine and then I attached it to the neckline. Then it was now time to cut the sleeve. Initially, I cut the sleeve on this pattern paper. I marked out the armhole. I figured out the length. The length is 12 and this pattern paper is 12, so it's just perfect for the length. Then I marked out the armhole. Armhole is 20, so I measured 10. Then I folded it into 2. I'm cutting for 1 now. So I'm just going to cut like a normal pencil sleeve first before I'll now like convert it to a puffy sleeve. So I cut out the pattern. I measured a round sleeve at that point is 14. I measured 7. I added sewing allowance. Then when I come up a little bit, a round sleeve at that part is 15. I measured 7.5. I added sewing allowance. Then I just went ahead to like mark the cap line. Then I connected to my sewing allowance. Then I didn't measure that part when I was marking it out, but before cutting it out I have to check to be sure that is enough with allowance. So I measured 10. That part where I put that mark is 10. Then there's still excess 1 inch sewing allowance. So after then I went ahead to mark where I want the white and black to be. So I just measured 3 downwards. Then I marked it out like so, after which I'm going to be cutting it out. Then I'll transfer it to the black and white material, add a little bit allowance to the length, the allowance that I'll use to join it to the down part. Then basically that's it. It's not a serious thing. This is me here cutting it out. I already cut it out. I added like ½ inch to the length. That ½ inch is what I'll use to join it to the black, like the down part of the sleeve. So I folded my fabric into 2 now. Then I folded the fold of 2 into another 2. So this is fold of 4 now. Then I placed this part of the sleeve on it. I just extended my hand out so that I'll see what to pleat. I don't know if that is clear. So I just marked it out like so. Then I extended my hand. I used the whole of the fabric I have. Then I added to the length. That addition is the part where I'm going to use to create the channel where the elastic is going to pass. So basically that's it. That was how I cut the puffy sleeve. Then I went ahead to like cut it out. It's that simple. So if you've been with me from the beginning of the video to this point and you've not subscribed, kindly do let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to give my video a thumbs up and share my video as much as you can. That will be greatly appreciated. So after cutting it out, I have something looking like this. I'll just go ahead to join the upper part that I cut out initially. I'll join it back to it. Then I'll pleat it at that point by creating the elastic channel and passing the elastic through it. Then I'll at that part where I'm touching, I just like made a straight rope to attach to it so that I can tie. This is me cutting out the rope now. Basically I didn't measure it. I just knew that it has to be more than like 20 inches. So I just cut out 2 for each sleeve. I turned it, then I went ahead to add it to that point. Then it's as simple as that. So like I said earlier, please don't forget to subscribe. Support me as much as you can. It's going to be greatly appreciated. So this is just me showing you what it's going to look like after joining, and that is the straight I attached to that point. So at this point I'd already finished sewing. You can see it's already giving what it's supposed to give. At this point I've fixed everything, the collar, the sleeve, the zip. I used stemming gum to fold it down. I didn't sew it so that the thread will not be showing, so that it will be as neat as possible. So at this point the dress is like 100% ready. It's just to give it a good press. So I'll give it a good press and I'll put it on the mannequin for you guys to see. Voila, this is the dress. Like, it's giving. It's so beautiful. It came out so well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.